Hi everyone, this is Richard Carlton. Welcome to another awesome video for the FileMaker 14 platform. Now, if you find that you really like this video, feel free to check out our FileMaker Pro 14 video course at learningfilemaker.com. It has lots of videos just like this that'll really help you learn the platform. So in this video, I'm bringing in another expert into the conversation because while I know a lot about the FileMaker platform, there are specific industry experts in the community who know more about specific topics than I do. And I want to introduce once again Claus Lavendt from DataManix, although I like to say DataManiacs. How are you, Claus?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing really well. In this video, we're going to be talking about SVG graphics that are basically new and have been introduced in the FileMaker 14 platform. Now, the video that you're watching has been updated as of DevCon 2015, where I've had a chance to sit with Claus and discuss this topic, which has actually been improved greatly. So part of this video you're going to be watching is original content, and then you'll see upgraded content along the way. It may sound a little different, so just keep that in mind. And you've got what appears to be a potential awesome video here because a lot of people need to know about SVG and FileMaker 14 and icons and stuff. And what's all that about? I guess we should start with what is this?
SVG files is green vector graphics. The really cool thing about SVG files is that they are not rasterized like a PNG or any other image format. So the great thing is that it's really just a calculation of an icon. And that's why FileMaker has chosen that format for the new icons feature within FileMaker 14.
That's right. The FileMaker 14 platform directly supports not only the creation of buttons, which it's always done, but the actual integration of an actual icon or glyph. And that's kind of a funny conversation there. FileMaker initially was calling this glyphs, and now the terminology has been changed to icons. So you'll see those terms used interchangeably in our training, simply because we were trained to talk one way and then marketing changed the change the name of it midstream. So you can actually draw a button on a layout and then select a relevant icon or glyph that helps represent or tell the story of what that button does. Now, you have the option, of course, to have the glyph there by itself or the text by itself, which has always been that way, or you can put the text to the left or to the right, top, bottom, it doesn't really matter. And so a second ago, you were explaining what SVG images are, and that's what these images are in here that FileMaker gives us for free as part of the product, right? So it's about rendering an icon at any size and having it look really good. I mean, that's what that's about, right?
Exactly. So if we just draw this button really, really big and enhance the icon size, you can see that it just scales perfectly without any rasterization.
Yeah, and so when you say rasterization, that's the idea where in a file that you're saving the actual data of a file, every little pixel is described in the file. Whereas in SVG, that's not the case, right? There are actually lines and arcs and circles and things that describe it mathematically. It's a vector. And
Exactly.
so whereas technically this functionality supports PNGs and SVGs, but SVG is by far the most recommended format because it scales so easily, whereas PNG, anytime you make an image too big, you see this all the time, people make an image too big, it gets pixelated. And that's because it's not designed to scale to a large size. So understand that this capability is about supporting both SVG and PNG, but we're recommending SVG. So tell us more about this SVG file format.
Yeah, just a side note to why it is so great with the SVG. In the recent years, Apple has been on the forefront with creating Retina displays, and the resolution of displays is being increased even more. So if anyone has seen some of the videos that Matt Petrowski has made, he has been talking about how to make PNGs in double size in order to make them render nice on a Retina display. But with SVG files, it just happens automatically because they scale on a vector base. So that's another cool thing about the vector format.
So what does the SVG file really look like under the hood? I mean, do you have a sample of
Yeah,
that?
so here we have a folder with some SVG icons, and actually we can just open it up in a text editor, and here is the file. When we look at the preview, sure enough, we can see this is an arrow icon, but it looks like this when you get it into a text editor. So first of all, there is some explanation about who generates the icon and which version of the SVG format is it, and where is the link to the descriptions and stuff. And this is coming from Adobe Illustrator. So that's some basic information. And then we have some other information about the background that is just around the actual icon. But here is the single line that describes how to draw this arrow on the screen. So this arrow can be described in a mathematical formula, which is just described just right here. And this is really great because it can just scale up and down without any problems.
Now, to be clear, this is not what PNGs or JPEGs or TIFFs or GIFs or anything, they don't look like this. I mean, they literally are, I mean, when you open those up, yeah, I mean, so that's what you get. And that's a representation of literally all the pixels and how they render in the display.
Exactly.
The rub is that there's no mathematical formula on any of these other image formats.
Nope.
That mathematical formula right here, all they have to do is tell it what size they want to render of the overall image, and it takes that formula right there and just pumps it up, and it looks perfect, which is a really cool part. So it's an important takeaway of this video, so you understand that. So moving along, you have a tool that helps us with this in FileMaker, right? I mean, is there a special SVG for FileMaker, or is it a standard SVG?
Yeah, well, let's just make a test and say we have this button. So within the palette of button setup, we can add an SVG file. This was the SVG we were just looking at, and it comes in here nice and white, and that's perfectly fine, but as you can see, it's not visible here. So with FileMaker 14, we now can control the button icon, or really what we can control is the color of the icon. So let's just try to make it another color in normal mode, and as you can see, it's not working.
Yeah, that has limited, practicality. So SVG there is great, it scales, but a standard SVG file will not allow FileMaker to change its color. Is that so? That's basically
not necessarily. It really, there is some different things about this, but what we really need to do is we need to put in a class within the icon itself. So when we are looking at this file here, we actually need to put in a class saying class equals fm underscore fill, and now I try to save it here. And if we go back and say, let's just remove this one and put in the new that we just edited here, and now we can see it in the right color that we have selected. We can change the color to anything else. And that's due to the reason that we have the fill class within the file. Just added here after the fill color. And the fill color is set to 6fs, which is the hex code for white color. And that is really good because when it's set to
I have to object at this point. I object because if I have to sit here and type that in all the time into all my files, it's just kind of a pain in the rear end. It's going to burn a lot of time, and so I dislike having to do that by hand.
Yeah, I totally get you, but that's why you're getting this free tool, which will help you.
Okay, well, tell us about that.
So let's take a look at that. So it is completely open and unlocked, makes use of some of the new features, but the tool here, first you need to make sure that you have installed the base elements plugin. and you can see the address to the base elements plugin from Goya here. It's a free plugin, and it's a great plugin.
But what does it do? So the plugin fixes images? Is that what it does?
No, not really, but it allows us to write directly into the files itself. So we can read the content of the file, and then we can write down the edited content of the file. And, this is simply just text within a file. So we just need to work with this as a text. And you know which application that is really great at doing manipulation with text? Yeah, you're right, it's FileMaker. So you just need to make sure that you have the base elements, and there are some buttons here in order to install the most recent version, which is version 3 today. Or you can go to the base elements, the Goya site, and get the newest version of the plugin. So this is standard. I have already installed the plugin. So now we have the folder here with the SVG files, and there's a button here, and select the parent folder of the icons. Actually, this function can also take a full top folder and any subfolders of this top folder. So if you have the icons, let's say you have thousands and thousands of icons you have purchased somewhere, and they are divided into subfolders, you can just select the top folder, like I'm doing here, and I say open, and now all the images is edited. So let's just take the next icon, and sure enough, here it's added class FM fill. And we could take, just so you can see I'm not joking, here it's also edited. So it was a matter of seconds. You have edited 306 icons and put in the FM fill class.
So in short, the SVG format works with FileMaker, but it doesn't really give us the controls to change the color unless we have that one little bit of text in there. But to add adding the text is kind of a pain. So you built a tool, and the plugin allows you to manipulate text files, I guess. And then you told FileMaker to go through an entire directory and open each file. And if it's an SVG, then to go in and add that bit of text automatically. That is super cool. I mean, like, that will save a ton of time. In fact, there's your code, I guess, right?
That's the code, and it doesn't take a lot. It's basically just select the top folder, and then we generate a list of files, and then we just loop through them and read whatever is in the current file, and then we create the new content where we do some substitution and put in the, well, I can show it here, where you put in the class of FM fill, and I actually also put in the white color as a fill color in order to make them look better in case they were originally black or whatever it was. And some explanation here if you want to do some modification yourself. So pretty simple, and then we just end up by writing the file back to itself with the same file name. And then it's done.
Now, to be clear, you don't have to do any advanced scripting to use this tool. We're just checking this out, right? We don't have to make a change.
Oh, yeah, sure. You can use it as is, or if you want to make some modifications because you're a great developer, you're totally welcome to.
Well, that's awesome. So what we've done here is we've taken a standard SVG, we've made it effectively FileMaker compatible SVG. And then your tool here is also a library, right? So show us that part.
Yeah, I just want to just show that we can take any of the converted files down here and it will work. Here is it. And we could change the color as well. Another cool thing that you could easily overlook is that this is the normal state, but you can actually set a different color in the hover mode or in the pressed mode if you'd like to do that. And that's actually something that brings life to your application, also with the icon color. So you can just play around with that.
Claus has made some good improvements to this tool that are worth notating in a video. So why don't you tell us how you've changed your tool and why it's better and what's different?
Yeah, well, basic thing I changed was to make the gallery better. In the first video I said that there was no way of displaying the icon natively in a container field. While that is still true, I found a way to display it via a web viewer instead. So the enhancement to this version 2 is that I'm grabbing the content of the icon file itself and put it into a text field where it's much easier to just manipulate with it. And then in order to get it into your solution, there's a really, really great feature that lets you get your icons in very easily.
Yeah, I just saw this a second ago, and this is going to be a good demo. So why don't you walk us through loading up and then transferring into a solution?
Yeah. So here we are at the gallery part. So I'm going to import files, and I only need to import the SVG files. So that's being done right now, and it's just importing into a text field and actually keeping a backup version of the original files as well.
So you're importing into a
into a text field.
Into a text field.
Yeah.
Because these SVGs are just text, like
yeah,
yeah,
they are just text. So now we got them in, and what is displaying over here at the icon is actually just a web viewer that is displaying the SVG from a text field.
Okay, great.
And what we're doing here is that while it can be a little bit difficult to see, we have a popover where the SVG is in the top field and the original is just stored in a separate field in order to let you restore in order you mess up something.
So we're preserving the history down below, and then so how is the top different here?
So it's different because we take the content of the file directly into the gallery and are able to work with it here. You can even do more stuff with it if you dig down into the SVG format. But now it's in here and I have done nothing with the originals. So what we want to do is we want to put in the, like I showed earlier, the class equals FM fill. So in order for FileMaker to be able to change the color of the icon, we need to put in this class. And that is really cumbersome. So actually the same process is just done directly within the text field now instead of doing that in the actual SVG icon file.
Okay, so we're actually adding this fix universally to the found set here.
Exactly, to the found set.
And it's to the text field for each of those icons.
Exactly.
Okay, great.
Exactly. And I added a few more things into the substitution part of the script that is adding this in order to account for other different kinds of SVG icons. Because not all SVG is similar. You can both have a path and you can have a polygon and different other objects. So I tried to account for at least a couple of them in order to make it work on even more icon files without you having to go in and redefine the script. So the process now has just added the fill color to white in order to make it easier to see in the gallery palette with the button bar, and then the class of FM fill. So here's how it gets interesting. So let's say you can use the checkboxes in order to put them into different collections, and you can add some tags in order to make it easier to find your icons. But I'm just omitting a handful of icons here. And now I just go and show omitted only, and we have found 33 icons.
Okay.
And these icons I would like to have into my solution file. Now, just for showing here, I'm just creating a new solution. Just untitled, I had that, and it's totally empty, totally new file.
So to be clear right now, the icons we were just playing with are not in this file
No,
yet.
they are not in
this file is a default FileMaker file.
Totally default, and as you can see, we only have the default set of icons here.
Okay.
Good. So here comes the magic, because instead of having to export all these 33 icons into a file in a folder on your desktop or documents folder or whatever, and then taking them into your solution file one by one into the palette, That's really cumbersome.
Yeah, that takes some effort.
Yeah, it does. So I created a new button here where we get the found icons into an icon collection. And now it's building.
So they're in the clipboard now? Is that what
now? Yeah. And here I just paste it in and delete it again and create the button here. And as you can see, now I have all my icons.
Okay, so now you did this really fast.
Yeah.
I feel like slapping your hands because you're just
going
back, 900 miles an hour.
I'm going back and explaining what we actually did here. So we have found a collection of icons here, right? And this is the collection I would like to have into my solution file. So I press the button, and what happens here is that I'm generating a XML snippet and put it into the clipboard of FileMaker. So
what is that XML snippet?
FileMaker has an ability to copy and paste objects.
Right.
And objects are described by XML
okay.
and put into an XML snippet.
So what does that snippet represent then if we paste this in?
That represents a button bar.
So you took the icons that we have here and you artificially created a button bar via script.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah. And I had to put in some custom functions in order to make this happen. Big function.
So we create the new solution.
We create the new solution and just untitle, and it could be your existing solution, of course. And now I'm just pasting.
You're just pasting, and we're pasting in the button bar that we artificially created a second ago.
Exactly.
Now, putting a button bar into FileMaker 14 will cause the artwork, if it's new artwork, to be added to the gallery automatically, and that's the secret sauce of the trick.
Yeah,
I didn't know about this.
That's really the trick. As soon as you paste it into the file, all the icons will get automatically into the icon palette of FileMaker.
So we don't have to use this button bar. I mean, because
no.
You don't have to use it all. So we can actually delete it now if we want.
You just paste it in and delete it immediately.
And so FileMaker won't remove them. They'll stay in there.
No, and you don't have to go into browse mode. You don't have to save the layout. You don't have to do anything. Just paste it in and delete it again.
And you're done.
And you're done. And as you can see, I'm putting in the icon here, and I can select all my icons from my gallery that I just put in. And one other thing is that, well, if you want to put, I actually did a test where I pasted in more than 1,500 icons, and it's doable. I wouldn't recommend it because you get a long list and the icon palette will work a bit slower because it has so many icons it has to load in here. But the sorting order, if you look here with the man with the plus sign, it's actually the first record here. So you can apply some sorting to your icons collection here before you generate the button bar object, and then it will appear in sorted order in the icons palette.
Cool. That's fantastic. So this brings up the idea of galleries and trying to draw icons, and I'm a big fan of leveraging things that are already done. And so I've had the opportunity to talk to the folks at icons8.com, which is one of the premier companies that builds SVG artwork. And here you can see their website. You can scroll down, you can see all sorts of icons. In fact, if you can, you can select, that this is a small group. In fact, if I press view all right there, you get to see the actual inventory of icons. And on the left are all the subcategories of what they are. Certainly computer hardware, e-commerce is a good one. Allows you to select, maybe credit cards and things like that, or barcode scanners. Tons of artwork that's already available. And I've talked to the folks at Icons 8. They're very excited about this capability being added to the FileMaker platform. So they wanted me to mention that you can actually download and use the icons for free if you put a credit on screen back to their website. And if you're a FileMaker developer, that can be kind of a hassle. So if you don't want to put the credit on screen, what I recommend, and also talking to the folks at Icons 8, help support what they're doing, because they're building new icons all the time. In fact, you can make suggestions, and there's like icons being added every day. It's crazy. But we can go to the licensing, and you can see the different license types. And you get into a situation where you can pick the kind of license appropriate for you. And for most FileMaker developers, they're going to develop solutions for more than one customer. They're going to want the agencies option at the top. And when you click that, that gives you the single option for effectively $249 a year, getting all the icons unlimitedly for use with your client projects. Now, you might say, well, $249 is a lot of money. Well, that's how you encourage people to do a good job and build great tools. You put a couple bucks in. And I know that I've done this. I've paid for this myself, and I plan on supporting these people because they're doing great things. And frankly, we need these icons everywhere. Now, if you're trying to build a commercial tool, or say, for example, if we were an FM starting point and we wanted to incorporate all these icons or a bunch of them in there, then we would have to go to the top and select a license for an authoring tool. And then, of course, it gets to be $1,000 a year, which is more money. But I think for most developers, $249 is great. If you're going to try to make some sort of custom theme kit or something like that, then the authoring tools license would be fine for that. But Claus, these icons work great with your tool, and this licensing seems very reasonable. For agencies is the one that that I have. But you have access to all the icons that they're in their inventory. Plus, they're saying they make like 5,000 a year, which is crazy numbers.
Yeah, I think this is a good place, but there's also other places if you don't want to go for this. But the icons we just used in this demo was from Icons 8.
Yep. At this point, that kind of wraps up what we're doing here for everyone. I want to thank Claus for building this tool. This is great. And when you download the tool, it will come with a handful of pre-built icons in the gallery for you. And once again, I want to recommend that you go and support the Icons 8 people. If you're going to use any of their artwork, it's very important for us to support the people in the community. That way they feel incentivized to continue to do a great job. That's why we pay for the licenses, so they make money and they stay in the business and they build more icons for us that are relevant. Excellent. Well, I appreciate it, Claus.
Yeah.
Great.
And it's, by the way, totally free and totally open.
Yeah, the price is amazingly attractive price of free.
It's a good price.
That's a good price. People like that price.
Yeah.
Well, thank you once again for building the tool. And this is Richard Carlton for learningfilemaker.com. Feel free to visit Claus on his website, or to download this tool specifically, feel free to visit fmstartingpoint.com. And under the marketing section, you'll see a link for you to download this for free. So until next time, this is Richard Carlton signing off.